So hello everyone. Case, thank you. Welcome to our computer science seminar series. And we're gonna have speaker today. I will let Milosh to introduce the speaker because like Milosh guest. Milosh, you can go now. Go ahead.
Well, I think everybody will agree that David is everybody's guest in Virginia. David is well known by a number of things he's done. One of the crucial things for Virginia is that David is leading Virginia Cyber Range. And we are having monthly meetings with Virginia Cyber Range Executive Committee, VACR. In those meetings, we learn about some really fantastic things that Virginia Cyber Range is doing for us. One of the motivations for this talk is also that our faculties become more familiar with what Cyber Range offers, with capabilities that we can use in teaching and research. So without further ado, David, thank you very much for finding time to talk to us. Take it away.
Super. Well, thanks, Milosh, for the invitation. This is great. I love to have the opportunity to talk about what we're doing with the Cyber Range, even if it's just so people know what we're doing, so you can recommend us to folks who might use us. And I definitely appreciate Milosh, your involvement in the executive committee. That's an important group to keep this initiative moving forward. And so we have a committee of folks from across the state that help drive the Virginia Cyber Range's future, and I'll talk about that in a minute as I get to it. So I'm going to I'm really going to give sort of an overview, touch some of the wave tops. I'll spend 30 minutes or so, but please feel free to stop and ask questions if that's appropriate. I have my chat window up, and I'll try to keep an eye on the chat window. But if I don't see something over there, maybe somebody can poke me and just tell me to jump on something in the chat. So my name is David Raymond. I'm faculty at Virginia Tech. Really, I'm administrative faculty at Virginia Tech. So I work in the Division of IT, and I previously was on faculty at West Point up in New York. So I spent several years. I'm a retired Army officer, and the last few years of my career, I was at West Point teaching the computer science program, really teaching the capstone cybersecurity program there, and had a lab infrastructure and ran my own sort of local cyber range, and then came to Virginia Tech and was working in IT security, actually. So I was very involved in the information technology security effort for Virginia Tech, and then this cyber range thing came along, and it sort of took over my life from there. But just to start out here, sorry, I'm gonna get my slides going. Okay, so I'd like to start out with just a high level overview of what is a cyber range. Folks on this call probably have a better sense of this, so I'll be brief here. Really, what we're trying to do with the cyber range is we're trying to provide isolated network environments where students can do hands-on cybersecurity related activities that could look malicious on the school's network, right? So you don't want students doing network scanning, penetration testing, whatever. You don't want them handling malware, doing malware reverse engineering. There's lots of things that you don't want students to do on the school network or even at home on their home network or on the internet. So a cyber range is intended to put students in isolated environments where they can do hands-on activities and not get people into trouble. And they're almost always virtualized, right? So people set up virtualization infrastructure using VMware or some other virtualization technology. We do it in the cloud, and virtualization just has lots of benefits, right? You can script the creation and deletion of exercise environments, and you can use a thing for a couple hours and then blow it away. Or with our infrastructure, we can spin up 1,000 virtual networks for a Saturday workshop, and then we can delete them all on Sunday, and it's lots of good reasons for virtualization. And cyber ranges in general are used for hands-on cybersecurity training, right? So defensive and offensive kinds of hands-on games or classroom activities. lots of capture the flag. I'll talk about capture the flag in a minute. And then you can also use CyberRanges for things like device and software testing. So you can take your new firewall and put it in a CyberRange and see if it actually does all the things that the vendor says it does. For example, we don't use the Virginia CyberRange for that, but that's a bit of an example of what a CyberRange in general can be used for. And in a minute, I'll talk more specifically about what our CyberRange does and is used for. So just to provide a little bit of background, the Virginia CyberRange dates back actually to 2015 when Governor McAuliffe created the Virginia Cybersecurity Commission. And the purpose of that group was to identify ways to improve cybersecurity education across the state of Virginia, starting in K-12, right? So he wanted to energize this ecosystem of cyber education, and it was all about filling the 50,000 empty cybersecurity jobs in the state of Virginia, about 500,000 cybersecurity jobs unfilled across the country. And he saw that as a critical need for the state and for the country to build up this level of expertise. So the Virginia CyberRange was first included in the 2017-2018 biennial budget, and basically the money comes to Virginia Tech to support this effort, but it's very much a statewide effort. So the budget language is at the bottom half of my slide here. The appropriation was provided to designate a CyberRange platform to be used by students in Virginia's public high schools, community colleges, and four-year institutions, right? So it's intended to be used by public high schools, community colleges, and universities. And we were also asked to create a consortium amongst the participating institutions, and that's where the executive committee comes in. And the consortium it's very specific criteria on the consortium, right? It should include Virginia public institutions with a certification of academic excellence from the federal government. So that's a thing called the NSA's Center for Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity Education or Cyber Operations or Cybersecurity Research. So they have some different CAE designations, but the executive committee schools are based on that certification. And I'll also note that Virginia is the only statewide effort of its kind. This CyberRange that supports high school and college cybersecurity education across the state at no cost to the users is the only statewide effort of its kind. There are other states who have state CyberRanges, but none of those are funded by the state and provided free of cost to the users. Those, any other state CyberRange, the schools that use them either have to pay for them, or there might be a college that provides resources to schools in their general vicinity, but there's no statewide effort like this anywhere else. So this really differentiates Virginia in terms of our cybersecurity education programs. I mentioned the executive committee a couple of times. This is the group that essentially charts the path of the CyberRange, right? So I have a team here at Virginia Tech, a team of software developers and outreach folks and courseware developers. We sort of own and operate the CyberRange. We build the software. We continue to drive it forward from a technical perspective. But in terms of thinking about ways that this can support cybersecurity education across the state of Virginia, we really rely on this group, which is the executive committee. Back in 2016, when we got started, there were 8 schools that were Centers for Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity Education in Virginia. Now there are 17 schools. So those 17 schools are listed here. And as those schools, here's VCU. And as the schools get this CAE designation, we add them to the executive committee. And this group meets on a monthly basis. So we meet every month. We share updates, in our infrastructure and things that we're doing to improve our interface and et cetera. And then we get input from the executive committee members about how to make this thing better. This picture is from a couple of years ago, so it's a smaller group, but that's the purpose of the executive committee. So this is this is what we do in the Virginia Cyber Range. We really have 3 primary lines of effort, and I'll just go left to right here. So starting on the left, we have a Courseware Repository, and the Courseware Repository is what you'd expect. It's course content that educators can take into the classroom to teach a variety of different cybersecurity courses. And the courseware covers a wide range of topic areas in cybersecurity. So we have things starting out from the very basic, hands-on at the Linux command line, familiarization with the Linux operating system, hands-on with the Windows command line, some basic cryptography kinds of exercises, introduction to networking, introduction to digital forensics, and then it kind of scales up from there to things like network scanning, port enumeration, network penetration testing, web application penetration testing, server hardening, more advanced digital forensics content. We have some cyber physical systems content. We have coverage of legal issues, ethical issues in cybersecurity. So it's a pretty wide range of courseware, and it really covers academic levels starting really in high school. So we have content that's very much tailored for high school students to learn kind of the entry level things in cybersecurity. And then we have content that that is appropriate for college students, and the content is all created by educators in Virginia. So these are faculty members at these CAE schools. We have an open call for proposals for courseware. So essentially, any of those schools can propose a course to be added to a course or a module or different kinds of courseware to be added to our repository, and we use some of our state funding to provide some financial incentive to those educators who do that. So, if somebody wants to provide courseware, we accept an abstract. Basically, they propose using an abstract form that we provide, and the executive committee reviews that abstract, and we decide whether that content is appropriate for use in the range or not. And then we decide an amount that we're going to grant that content author for that courseware. And then we have that content author work with our courseware team, because we want the content put in a particular format, and we want it to be usable in the range. So we want to make sure any hands-on activities work in our infrastructure, and et cetera. So it's generally a fairly long process for the courseware author to work with our courseware team. But in the end, what we get is some really nice content that we can put up in our Courseware repository, and it's very widely used by high schools and colleges across the state to improve their cybersecurity classes. And it's really intended to be very modular. So you can grab if you're already teaching a course, you can grab 3 to 5 lessons on digital forensics, for example, and you can add that to your class. Or if you have nice content, but you want to make sure that your students come in with some Linux command line familiarization, you can grab some hands-on activities on the Linux command line, and you can provide that to the students, as a prerequisite to sort of bone themselves up if they haven't used the Linux command line in a while. So it's that kind of content up through full courses in various topics, and it's all provided using a Creative Commons license. So you can take it, you can modify it to suit your needs, and change the slide template or add slides, remove slides, change the hands-on activities, use it however you want. So that's the courseware side. More interesting is what we call the exercise area. So that's at the middle of the slide here. This is the infrastructure in which students do their hands-on cybersecurity activities. And the way this is set up, it looks kind of like an LMS for cyber infrastructure. So if you have a Virginia Cyber Range account as a faculty member, you can create a course in the Cyber Range, and then you can enroll students in your course. And so that gives the students the ability to log in, and then you provision the environments that the students are going to use. So we have a team here at Virginia Tech that runs the Cyber Range, but we don't provision infrastructure for students. We just don't have enough people to do that. That doesn't scale at all, right? We support 250 schools across the state of Virginia. And so we can't set up everybody's course for them. We really give the instructors, the faculty members, the tools that they need to do that themselves. And that's worked really well for us. And I'll give you a quick preview of what that looks like in a minute. In those exercise environments, right, the instructor can provision the exercise environments. And those are everything from a single virtual machine all by itself, so you can provision Windows or various flavors of Linux virtual machines, Kali Linux or Debian or CentOS or Ubuntu, up through some more complex network environments, a handful of virtual machines in a network that the students are going to use to do those things like, port enumeration and web application penetration testing and those kinds of activities. We also have a capture the flag system that we're really proud of. Fairly new CTF system. We used to use a third-party capture the flag platform, but we decided to create our own so that we would have more control over the features and the functionality. And so we have a Jeopardy-style capture the flag system that, again, this is another thing that a faculty member can deploy in a class for their students. And so the faculty member deploys it in their class. The faculty member, the teacher is the administrator, so they can manipulate, whether the CTF is an individual event or if it's played by teams of students. The teacher can add challenges to it, remove challenges, essentially use it however they would like. And we probably have 100 of those deployed right now for teachers across the state of Virginia. And then on the right side here, the community of purpose, right? This is that we're really working hard to build this community of cybersecurity educators across Virginia. And one way we do that is with our executive committee, right? We have faculty members from colleges and universities across Virginia, and that group gets together regularly and talks about how cybersecurity education at their institution is progressing. We also we convene our own workshops. So we teach during the summer. We teach summer camps for teachers who are teaching cybersecurity classes. Most of that is to serve high school teachers and in some cases community college faculty members. To help them, learn concepts necessary for them to teach a cybersecurity class at their level. We also host an annual conference. We participate in various conferences across the state of Virginia to share what we're doing and to host conference level workshops for various constituents groups. So lots of outreach associated with what we do. Okay, and I'll move on from this slide. So, but this is really, these are our three primary lines of effort. That's where we spend our time. And I mentioned we do all this in the cloud, right? So this is all based in Amazon Web Services cloud. And we went down this road because when we started, we had this mandate from the state of Virginia to provide a resource used across the state. And when we started, we really had no idea how many folks were going to use this. And so we just couldn't think of a good way to decide how much infrastructure to purchase. We could have bought a bunch of servers and put them in a data center and installed VMware and called it a day and provided access to that through our university network. And that was my comfort level back then. I was very familiar with VMware, and I could have done that, but we didn't know how many students we were going to have. We didn't know how much infrastructure we were going to spin up. We wanted it to be available to any student, across the state. We wanted it to be available from wherever they are, which, from school, from home, from the library, from wherever. We wanted it usable in a web browser. So everything that we provide is accessed through a web portal. There's no requirement for any additional software to be installed. Most of the students use this using something like a Chromebook. We also wanted it to be up and running very quickly, right? So we got funded in July. We got funded in July of 2016. At that point, there was one person in the cyber range, and that was me. And actually, that wasn't even my official job until a few months later. And by September So got funded in July. By September, we gave a live demo to the governor at a conference in Newport News, Virginia. So we had to have something to show in 2 months. And then by January of 2017, we had students in 2 colleges using what was then a very alpha version of the Virginia Cyber Range, but we were able to get up and running very quickly. So AWS was a little bit risky to start with, but we were able to ramp it up and do sufficient beta, alpha and beta testing to convince ourselves that it was a good way to go. And it's worked out very well for us. So as an instructor in the Cyber Range, maybe I'll just show it to you in the Cyber Range itself. So I'm going to jump to the Virginia Cyber Range webpage just very briefly and show you what this looks like as a user, and then I'll come back to my slides in a minute. So here I am at the Virginia Cyber Range webpage, and I'll mention 2 areas that I already referred to briefly. We have this Courseware Repository. And the Courseware Repository, as an instructor, it's what you would expect. It's an online content repository filled with documents related to different courses in cybersecurity. And if I go straight to the courseware page, I just get an alphabetical listing of stuff, everything is labeled over here on the right side as a lesson or a module or a course or whatever it happens to be. And obviously, if I want to find something specific, then I can do a search. So if I search on forensics, then I get back content related to digital forensics. There's some advanced filtering, so I can search based on education level, experience level, categories of courseware. So I can look for courses, modules, workshops, lessons. I can filter by the NICE Workforce Framework KSA list, if you're familiar with that. So I can look for content that meets specific KSAs, and all of our content is tagged with the KSAs. And it's also tagged with the NIST Center for Academic Excellence knowledge units. So you can search for content based on specific knowledge units, which is kind of useful. And then if I drill into this courseware, it's what you'd expect, right? You get a page that has a description of whatever this happens to be, and then you can download the files associated with it. If I go to the exercise area.
Dr. Raymond, I had a question there.
Yeah.
Do you have like a spreadsheet or some sort of matrix that would list all those KUs or KSAs for those programs in modules?
That's a good question. We probably have that. Yeah.
I'd be very interested in that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's listed on I'm not sure if that's listed anywhere on our website, but yeah, if you wanna like tag me in the chat and send me an email, I can find that out and get back to you. I'll put my email address here in the chat.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's the thing our courseware team probably does have. So I'll see what they have. So here I'm logged in to the Cyber Range exercise area as an instructor, and these tiles are all courses, and these are all courses that I own as the instructor. And I don't teach this many courses, but I have some of these are for capture the flag events and other stuff that I've done recently. A class I am teaching right now is this ECE 5586. So this is a class at Virginia Tech. And if I click into this class, I see 2 exercise environments in my class. So I provisioned these myself as the instructor, these exercise environments. There's a Kali Linux virtual machine, and then there's an Ubuntu virtual machine with some other stuff. My students are shown here. So I can add students. I can manipulate the students here. Invite additional students into my class. And to bring up one of these virtual environments, I click into the environment. And here's here's the name of it, brief description, dates that it's available. And then if I click the join button, what I get is a new browser tab. This is all happening in browser, right? So I get a new browser tab, And here, this is the desktop. And this happens to be a Kali Linux virtual machine. And so I can open a terminal window, do my command line thing. I can open up a web browser, and I can browse to targets that are in the cyber range. So we have some target machines inside here that the students can interact with, and they can also browse out to the internet. So we use a web proxy to control what the students can do out on the internet, but they can go from here to the internet to download files or connect to your LMS or whatever. So that's what the cyber range looks like, from the user side. See if I can get back to my slide here. Maybe not. There we go. So yeah, so that's just a quick demo of what it looks like. And so I mentioned before, from an instructor perspective, what I can do as an instructor is I can create a course. When I create a course, I'm the only person in the course, and then I can enroll my students in the course. So that gives the students an account and the ability to log in. And then from there, I can provision environments. So I can look at the different options of exercise environments and decide which one I want to use. And then when I click a button, a copy of that environment is provisioned for each student in the class. That process takes about 15 minutes to provision all of the student environments. And the students can next time they log in, they're going to see this new thing and they can start interacting with it. And this is software that we've built over the last few years, does all this automated provisioning. And from a student perspective, this slide I like to use to assuage the fears, mostly of IT people who are concerned about students using the cyber range because they're afraid that the students are going to be hacking things on their network. So what I like to show the IT team is that, as the student using the cyber range, they're sitting down here on the school network. The pen quit working, and when the students connect to the cyber range, they're just connecting to a web portal, right? So they see this web portal, and it just looks like they're connecting to the web on port 443, and the interesting things are happening on the back end right here. So here's the students' exercise environment in a VPC inside our cloud infrastructure in the Virginia Cyber Range, and the desktop of one or more virtual machines is pushed to a browser tab using either it's either a SSH session, so it might just be a terminal, or it's going to be RDP, so pushing a desktop on port 3389. But none of this happens on the school network. That all happens in the cloud inside the Virginia Cyber Range AWS infrastructure. And then from there, when the students connect back out to the internet, so in there we can either lock the students in completely so they can't touch anything, or we can give them proxied access out to the internet. And the proxy lets us, control what they're doing out there, so they're not trying to scan internet hosts or connect to websites we don't want them to connect to. We also do lots of capture the flag. So Jeopardy style CTF. So the way Jeopardy style CTF works is students have challenges across categories. Categories are things like cryptography and networking and web exploitation and reverse engineering and reconnaissance. And the challenges are of varying point levels, right? So they start very easy with low point level challenges. And then as the challenges get more difficult, the point levels increase. And students do this, they solve a challenge, get the points, then move on to the next challenge. And the idea is that, as they progress and learn more things, they solve more difficult challenges. And then, to continue up the path, they got to teach themselves more. And these are becoming very popular in colleges and now in high schools with cybersecurity clubs and even used in the classroom. So pretty popular tool. This is just a screenshot. So maybe I'll jump over here again to the I can find the right tab. So this is our CTF. This is so I'm logged in here to the CTF platform, and I have categories across here. So trivia, crypto, networking, reconnaissance, web, and then I have this Scooby-Doo category, which is some password cracking challenges essentially, and you have challenges that increase in point value, and so a student would click a challenge, and the challenge gives them some problem to solve. So this one is a trivia, these are all trivia questions. So this is just a trivia question. They have to, find the answer and then put the answer in here. These are not very interesting, but if you look at a cryptography challenge, for example, I might go into a challenge, and this is, there's a secret message and it's got a file attached to it. So I click here and I get a file, and then I have to figure out how to decrypt the thing. I'm not sure what this is. I'll take a look at it here. Clicking random links on the internet. So this is this image that has this, message, and the students decrypt the message, and then they put in the message, and then they, solve the challenge and get the 20 points. And this all has real-time scoring, so they see their scores increase over time as they solve challenges. This particular CTF we ran for, it looks like a couple of days here, day and a half, starting in the morning on one day and ending in the afternoon on another day. So these CTFs, you can run them for a couple of hours, you can run them for a couple of weeks, however you want to do it, and the students see their progress over time. So that's the CTF system. And then I mentioned the community of purpose, right? So we work hard to build this community. We teach workshops to high school teachers and to others. We have a YouTube channel that has several dozen recorded lectures and other content that we've put together over the last few years. We host an annual conference. We've done that for 3 years. Our summer 2020 conference was virtual, like most conferences, but it was 2 days in July of 2020. We have lots of sponsors that help us out with this, so this is a pretty good opportunity to connect with other cybersecurity educators. These are just some quick stats that I pulled off of our dashboard this morning. So right now in the CyberRange, we have almost 20,000 total user accounts. So that's students who have used the CyberRange since the fall of 2018 is when this counter started. That's the most recent iteration of our CyberRange software. So we dumped all of our old accounts and started anew in fall of 2018. This semester, current semester enrollments, this semester we have almost 7,000 students using us. My pen's not working, there we go. So these are students that are enrolled in cybersecurity courses in high schools and colleges across Virginia this semester that are using the CyberRange. I'm pretty proud of this number. Those students are in a total of 323 active courses as of today in the CyberRange. We have currently deployed 12,024 virtual machines in the Virginia CyberRange for use by students. And these virtual machines are all deployed by the teachers, right? So the teacher creates the class, they enroll the students, they deploy the virtual machines for their students. 12,000 of them running right now. And at the end of each semester, we basically clean that all out. So those all go away in May, June timeframe. And then in the summer, there'll be some, and then in the fall, that'll ramp up again to some number close to that. Our highest ever total VM count was 20,000 virtual machines. We've made some efficiencies so we can reduce that number because it gets really expensive in AWS, but today we have 12,000 provision. And this is our Courseware repository. So almost 15,000 files downloaded out of our Courseware repository this academic year. So starting in 1st of September of 2020 through today, almost 15,000 documents downloaded from our repository. And this is the map that shows the schools across the state that are using the CyberRange. So we're currently supporting 220 high schools, and that's out of about 400 high schools in the state of Virginia. So over half the high schools. 21 community colleges are using us out of 23, and 13 public universities are using us out of 15. So we have pretty good coverage, and we touch students in Virginia from one end of the state to the other. And our latest initiative, so we've the Virginia Cyber Range has gotten some attention over the years from folks outside of Virginia who want access to what we're doing, right? So we haven't been able to provide access because the Virginia Cyber Range is funded by the state of Virginia to support educators in Virginia. So us providing access to schools outside the state just is, we couldn't do that. So what we did back in 2019 is we created this thing called the US Cyber Range, which it's just a cost center at Virginia Tech, right? It's a carbon copy of the Virginia Cyber Range. And it allows educators outside of Virginia to pay for access to our resource. And again, this functions as a cost center within Virginia Tech. So it doesn't make, our mandate from the university is we can't make money, we can't lose money. So at the end of the fiscal year, we have to show a zero balance. So we charge what it costs these folks to use our resource. And primarily what that means is we pass through the AWS bill that we get to the schools that use us. Right now we have 110 schools using us in 39 states. And that's, we've been doing this for about a year now. So that's ramping up. We have a couple of national level partners who create courseware for use in the US Cyber Range. There's an organization called cyber.org down in Louisiana that is funded by the they're funded by the Department of Homeland Security. They provide STEM courseware, including cyber courseware, and they have courses that use the Cyber Range for the platform. And then there's another effort called Teach Cyber, which is funded by the NSA and the NSF, and they also create cybersecurity courseware and use our platform, use the US Cyber Range as the platform for that. Yeah, so this is my last slide. I think this, so where we fit in terms of, as an entity within the university here at Virginia Tech, we support education, obviously. So this is part of our land grant mission to support education. So we support cybersecurity education across the state of Virginia, and we work closely with the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative. Milos is closely tied with that as well, and some of you may also be. And then it's a great outreach function. We travel around the state, work with educators in high schools and colleges, and it's pretty I think beneficial to the cybersecurity ecosystem in the state of Virginia. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and I'm at the 39-minute mark. It looks like, so I hit my 40 minutes almost right on time, and I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has, or if you have something I can't answer, then I'll provide more details later on. So any comments, questions?
Thank you, David. And
sure.
Yeah, we are open to questions. Now, students, if you, the audience, if you have questions, you can unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can type in the chat.
Dr. Raymond, I do have a clarification question.
Mm-hmm.
So can you hear me correctly? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
Sorry, my connection is a little bit spotty, so forgive me if I ask something that you've clarified before.
Mm-hmm.
So this system implements VMs for your students. Can a student have multiple VMs to do experiments on something such as like intrusion detection?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the environments are environments that are provided by this educator as part of the class. So if somebody's teaching a cybersecurity class, they can provide environments to their students. And so a student is not able to create their own environments. The teacher creates the environments for the students. But yeah, in terms of the kinds of activities you can do in here, there are we don't have anything that looks like a corporate network. It would be hard to do like a large scale intrusion detection or incident response kind of an activity. You could do, but you can do that on a very small scale. So we have some environments that have like maybe 3 or 4 virtual machines in a network, and you could have one of the virtual machines running the Snort IPS, for example, and you could have you could use other virtual machines to attack that system and see what the IDS system flags. So you could do that on the small scale. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice presentation, by the way.
Thanks. Thank you.
David, I think you presented such a great overview and pretty much answered all the questions that would have come up. So.
That's fine. Yeah, I was trying. Yeah. I know I was talking fast. Hopefully I covered all the high points.
No. You really covered all the points, and everything I wrote down to ask you, you kind of showed already.
Super.
But there's one crazy maybe question. If students were interested in using CyberRange, and the instructor was not necessarily, his advisor was not necessarily involved, could just student go ahead without an instructor and use the range?
Yeah, we're not really set up for that, Milos. We really want, it's really intended for an instructor to create a course for use by the students. We do have, I'll say that we do have clubs who use the range, and the clubs generally have a faculty, some kind of a faculty, administrator, liaison, whatever, advisor, and so the faculty member will often create the course and then provide what the students need. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a part of a specific course, but if the student has a faculty member who's willing to be sort of the stucky, the person who's gonna create the course and get it approved, then we, that's a thing that can be done.
That's something I think we should definitely do, and Dr. Fung is very much involved with our club, and I think that's something that we need to do at earliest convenience.
Yeah, and yeah, so if they don't have an account, then the instructor can just go to the virginiacyberrange.org webpage, and there's a button up in the corner that says, sign up. I'll go to the webpage here. There's a button in the corner of the Virginia CyberRange webpage that lets you sign up for an instructor account. There's just a form that you fill out, ask for institution, name, contact information, and our team will get the account set up, usually in a business day.
Yeah, it sounds great. I probably can use it in my cybersecurity course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so there's a sign up button right there.
Okay, thank you.
And I just want to reiterate that the beautiful format of modularized topics for both courseware and exercises like CTF makes it easy to find what you need, what you want to use, and you just make a sandwich, make a salad of what you need, customize and go ahead and use it.
Yeah, really the intent is to provide a variety of resources for the educator and for the educator to use it however they see it fit. Yeah, that's really the model, and it's worked really well. Okay, well, I put my email address in the chat. If anybody has any further questions, you're welcome to shoot me an email and I can jump on it. But other than that, that's really all I have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are recording this, and thank you for allowing us to do so. And we will post it on our Cybersecurity Center webpage. We want our instructors to be able to go back to this and use this opportunity. I'm just curious, and that's probably not the main thing here, but this resource is available to Virginia educators for free, and outside it's far from free.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's a great, I tell you, it's a great, you know, it's a credit to the state of Virginia for providing this, because it's not cheap. I mean, our monthly Amazon bill it's been up to close to $40,000 at peak usage. So it's pretty expensive, but it's all funded by the state of Virginia.
That's beautiful.
Great. Well, thanks for having me, everybody. And you all have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, David.
And Milos, stay out of trouble.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
See you all. Thanks.
Thank you.